The root of the question is feeling into energy, perceiving energy. Seems to me it happens. It's not the five senses doing that, or the five senses collapse into their essence, which is an energetic thing, and the awareness that I am, that is here, is what perceives energy, which is what it is. It's perceiving itself, but it's not working through the senses at that point, because the senses don't deal. The senses take energy and extract form, but the mind imposes form. Form is conceptual, name and form.
Right.
At what point does feeling into an emotion transition away from senses into something, into their essence, into my essence?
So bare awareness is all that's necessary for the experience of form to become the experience of the essence of form. Because the experience of form is a mental construct, or it holds in place the experience of the solidity of form. It's like it keeps it there. So ignoring thought, for attention to be ignoring thought and simply resting in sensation or silence or the visual field. I mean, if you're not paying attention to thought, then the field and the sense are not separable, really. Right? So, you can call it the collapse of the sense field, or there's a lot of language, but the five senses and the five sense fields they merge
as pure perception.
Yeah, that's usually the language for it. Yeah, pure perception, yes, or formless, or pure form. Sorry, stuff. It's basically pure perception, meaning perception that isn't modified by thinking or by mind.
It's no longer differentiated. It's no longer.
Yeah, and then it's you could say it's like a midpoint. I mean, it depends on how you describe the word non-duality, right? In a sense, it's non-dual, because the senses and the sense perceptions merge. The sense fields and the senses merge, so they're not two. But in a way, often, but that's in Buddhism, it's Sambhogakaya. In Shaivite Tantra, it's the goddess. It's you could say it's a midpoint between pure non-duality, which is the formless. Pure form is still an experience of energy or of something, colors, lights, but it's experienced in a non-dual way. Like there's the perceivers, there's perception of the sense fields and the senses merged. It's like when your mind is silent, but you're aware of a silent mind, or the distinction between objects in the visual field becomes obviously arbitrary. Everything is just light, and maybe different color lights. It's merging, but it's it's diffuse. It's coalescing, and of course, The mind is silent because there's an ignoring of any thought. Thoughts are kind of a wisp that's there. But that's the Sambhogakaya. That's the dimension of pure enjoyment. That's the energetic dimension. But the awareness of that, the silent awareness of that, that's the Dharmakaya, or emptiness, or Shiva. Right? And then you can also say they're inseparable. Shiva and Shakti are one. So Shiva Shakti, then you could say that's even higher. Or there's a word in Tibetan Buddhism I don't remember. If Michael was here, he would remember. Only Sanya might remember. But there's something like the fourth phrase for the three bodies as one body. Do you remember that? Say again?
Svavavikakaya.
There you go. Thank you so much. That's right. So that's the clarity in which they're not separate at all. They're not actually separate bodies. Yeah, separate dimensions. Shiva and Shakti are the same or one. Not the same, they're one. Yeah. You can still make the distinction between Sambhogakaya and Dharmakaya, or even Nirmanakaya, or Shiva and Shakti. You can still make the distinction, to be really precise, between the formless, pure form, and impure form. But you can see clearly that they're all one phenomena. They're not, or they're one whatever. They're just different. It's like saying ice, water, steam. And then you say, well, they're H2O. They're all H2O. But you can still make the distinction between them. Yeah.
So is there a distinction then between the pure awareness that in which all this is happening and the sense of being or isness or amness, the sense of existence?
Yeah. I mean, in Kashmir Shaivism, this is the difference between prakash and vimarsha. So vimarsha in its purest form is the simple sense of existence. The simple sense of existence is the goddess in the purest form. In other words, she herself is a hierarchical phenomena. Like in her most, subtle form, she's just the sense of being. She's just the sense of being, because everything else every other ornament of her, every other form of her can be gone, but the sense of being she always is.
But the sense of awareness, or rather awareness, is what he
awareness is not a sense of being. The sense of being, so this is vimarsha, means reflection, right? The sense of being is a reflection of being, or of emptiness, or of the awareness. There's a sense of being.
Okay.
Right? And then there's Shiva, who is not a sense of being at all. He's pure. Shiva is just pure awareness and is never sensed.
Can you say Shiva is pure being and never?
Well, it depends on then we're getting to just words, but it depends what you mean by being. Right? Shiva is non-being, really. I mean, I would much rather characterize Shiva as non-being.
Because
he's not sensed. He's not, you can't, pure consciousness is non-sensed, not sensed ever. It's almost just an implication. There's obviously awareness of everything, but there's nothing that is aware. There's no thing. Shiva is no thing. Shiva is zero. Shiva is emptiness. Shiva is non-being. And in that non-being is a sense of being, and that's her. To use the Shivite language, that's her. Mm-hmm. She's the reflection. And they'll go a step further and say they're always together. Because there's always I'm emptiness. Well, what is that? As soon as there's an I'm emptiness, that's it. And even if it's not spoken, there's a sense of And that sense is now an object of awareness because it's a sense. Or recognition. That's another word they use a lot. The recognition. She's the recognition. He's not a recognition. There's nothing, because recognition is that it's not there. So, it's like all the language in Tibetan Buddhism in particular is all like emptiness, space. It's not there. It's empty. And over and over they're going, yay, like emaho, I think is the word. It's like, wow. It's like, that's her. It's like, wow. Ooh, this is, wow. Or, it's a union of bliss and emptiness too, is another way they say it. Yeah, bliss, that's her. But in her most subtle form, because she's the whole thing, right? I mean, especially in Shivite teaching. She is both Sambhogakaya and Nirmanakaya. She is all the form. But usually when we talk about Shakti, even the word Shakti, that's really, we're already now talking about yeah, she's the earth, she's the density, she's illusion too, she's Maya, right? But when we're talking about Shakti as pure form, then you can't talk about her as Maya anymore. Now she's pure form. She's the experience of being free of mind. In the way of mind, I mean ego, that kind of mind. I'm not talking about perception. She is perception, just perception. But it gets a little weird because formless awareness is perception in a sense. But it's light and reflection. I mean, prakash means light, and that's what Shiva is. Or marsha means reflection. And really, that metaphor is fantastic. Light and reflection, it works perfect. Because there's such a pair. They really, like, you can't see light unless it's reflected. If you see a ray of sunlight, it's just like the dust particles reflecting back the light. So you can't actually see light. Light is actually not visible, but it makes everything else visible. And so you know where light is because things are visible. And you know that. Look, there's light in this room. So in a way, you see light, but you don't really see it. You're just seeing the reflection of things. You're seeing reflected light. So all objects are all experienced as reflection. And light is never experienced, and yet light is absolutely necessary for any reflection, for any seeing, for any experience. So form is emptiness. Emptiness is form. Form is not other than emptiness. It's the same. I don't know that we've gotten to where you wanted to go, though. Let's talk some more about this, Lee.
Well, that was beautiful.
Okay.
No, I think you did. I would ask that you post this.
Okay. Good.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.